I stood frozen in the living room of my childhood home, my hands shaking as I clutched the bank statement, its numbers, a silent scream of betrayal. "We used your savings to bail out your brother," my mom said, her tone as casual as if my $10,000 were spare change. When I dared to ask for it back, my dad's gaze turned cold and he spat, "Don't be selfish, Nora," his words cutting deeper than the loss of the money itself. My name is Nora Bennett, and this is the story of how I transformed that wound into a fire that forged a new life, proving my worth far beyond their dismissal. Let me take you back to the beginning, to a small Indiana town where I grew up, where family loyalty was a chain that bound me tight. I was the middle child of 5, wedged between my older sister Ellie and my younger brother Caleb in a modest ranch-style house in Lafayette. Our town was a patchwork of cornfields, high school football games, and Sunday gossip over church donuts. My parents, Linda and Greg, were pillars of the working class. Mom a nurse with a gentle smile, Dad a mechanic with grease-stained hands. But their love was conditional, doled out like rations. Ellie was their star, a cheerleader bound for nursing school, her charm lighting up any room. Caleb was the spoiled baby, reckless, yet always forgiven his mistakes, swept under the rug. I was the quiet one, the planner hoarding every penny. From babysitting jobs, dreaming of college, and a life beyond the endless fields. I wasn't neglected, but I was expected to serve, to put family above myself, even when it meant sacrificing my future. By high school, the hierarchy was unmistakable. Ellie's prom gown was funded from my parents' savings, her car repairs paid without a second thought. Caleb's football equipment, his constant borrowing for gas, or parties was a family expense. My needs, I was told to figure it out. At 15, I got a job at a local diner, washing dishes and waiting tables, saving every tip for college. I'd stash the cash in a tin under my bed, counting it late at night, envisioning Purdue's engineering program. I excelled in school, acing math and science, leading the robotics club, and winning a state science fair at 16 with a solar-powered water purifier I'd built from scratch. I thought that would be my moment, Mom framing the award, Dad boasting to his buddies at the garage. Instead, they skipped the ceremony. Caleb had a playoff game, and family comes first. I stood on that stage 16 and trembling, accepting my plaque to sparse applause, my eyes searching for faces that weren't there. At home, Mom said, "We're proud, Nora, but Caleb's got recruiters watching." Dad added, "You'll get why he's the priority someday." That was the first deep wound, the kind that burrows into your soul. I started to believe I was the family's mule, valued only for what I could carry. I'd lie awake, my savings tin heavy in my hands, $3,500 by junior year, wondering why I fell short. Was I too serious, not charismatic? Like Ellie or Caleb, I'd trace the edges of my Purdue acceptance letter, hidden in my desk drawer, and swear I'd break free. I'd show them I was more than their responsible daughter, the one who always paid her own way. Purdue was my escape hatch. I earned a partial scholarship covering half my tuition and moved to West Lafayette, my beat-up car stuffed with thrift store clothes and big dreams. The campus was a sprawling universe where no one knew my siblings. I thrived in my engineering classes, mastering circuits coding and building prototypes in late-night lab sessions. I found friends, real ones, like Maya, who laughed at my sarcastic quips, and Liam, who'd geek out over equations with me. But the hurt didn't vanish. Phone calls home were brief. Mom fixated on Caleb's latest chaos, Dad on Ellie's nursing exams. They visited once in 3 years for a Purdue football game, not for me. I'd send them links to my projects, a wind turbine design, a hackathon victory, and get back. "That's nice, Nora," Caleb's DUI arrest. That warranted a family rescue mission and endless group chat debates. By my junior year, I was running on fumes. My scholarship didn't cover housing or books, so I juggled 2 jobs, tutoring freshmen and waitressing at a campus diner to make ends meet. My savings had grown to $10,000, my college fund, every cent earned through sweat and skipped meals. I was on track to graduate with honors, had internship offers from tech firms, and was working on a passion project, an affordable solar panel, for rural communities dubbed Suncor. I built it in stolen hours, coding and soldering, dreaming of making clean energy accessible. I invited my parents to a campus engineering showcase where I'd present it, practically pleading in my email. "This means everything to me," I wrote. "Please be there." They swore they'd come for me and Caleb, who was flunking out of a nearby community college. The showcase was a blaze of energy, the engineering hall packed with professors, industry scouts, and buzzing prototypes. I stood by my Suncor display, heart-hammering, scanning the crowd. I spotted them, Mom in her faded sweater, Dad in his work boots cheering. An hour later, I explained Suncor, my voice clear. The room erupting in applause, a scout from a green tech firm nodding. I looked for them, my eyes desperate. They were gone off to Caleb's event. I found them later outside, Mom saying, "Oh, Nora, we got caught up." Dad shrugged. "You did okay, but Caleb needed us more." Then Mom dropped the bomb. "We took your savings for his bail and tuition. You're strong, you'll manage." I stood there stunned, my voice barely a whisper. "That was my college fund," I said. Dad's face hardened. "Don't be selfish, Nora. Family's what matters." The betrayal was a sledgehammer. My $10,000, every hard-earned dollar, stolen for Caleb's recklessness. And I was selfish for wanting it back. I walked away, tears scalding my cheeks, and that night in my dorm I shattered. Maya found me curled on my bed and brought me herbal tea, sitting as I poured out years of being the family's bank. "They think I'm nothing," I told her, voice breaking. "Just a tool." She held me and said, "Then build something they can't touch. Not for them, for you." That moment broke me open, but it also kindled a flame. I was done being their scapegoat. I moved to a cheaper apartment with Maya, threw my heart into Suncor, and swore I'd rebuild. I didn't know how, but their betrayal was rocket fuel. It seared, but it set me free. I was 21, penniless, and ready to fight for myself, to prove I was more than their selfish daughter. The months after were a blur of survival. Maya's apartment was a lifeline, a tiny place with mismatched furniture and a noisy radiator. I worked double shifts at the diner, tutored until my voice gave out, and coded Suncor in stolen hours. My eyes burning from screen glare. I cut contact with my parents, their calls going to voicemail, my texts to them curt. Ellie was in nursing school, Caleb in rehab, and I was done being their safety net. I needed to save myself. Maya was my rock, sneaking me coffee during late-night study sessions, leaving notes on my laptop. "You're a badass, Nora." One night as we ate takeout on our sagging couch, she asked, "Why do you keep going when they hurt you?" I didn't have a clear answer, just a fire in my chest. "It's not about them," I said. "It's about me proving I'm enough." She nodded, her eyes fierce, and that was enough to keep me moving. Then I met Dr. Patel, my engineering professor, who saw my spark. I'd stayed late in the lab tweaking Suncor, and she noticed, asking about my project. I showed her nervous, and she lit up. "This could change lives, Nora," she said, offering to mentor me. She became my guide, pushing me to refine Suncor and enter it in a national green tech competition. Her belief was a beacon, showing me I wasn't alone in my fight. The betrayal of my family, using my $10,000 savings to bail out Caleb, left me reeling, a wound that pulsed with every step I took. I was 21, a junior at Purdue, living in a cramped apartment with Maya, my life. A grueling cycle of engineering classes, diner shifts, tutoring gigs, and late-night work on Suncor, my affordable solar panel project. My parents' dismissal, "Don't be selfish." Nora echoed a reminder I was the family's workhorse, valued only for what I gave. But Maya's fierce friendship and Dr. Patel's mentorship were lifelines pulling me from despair. I was Nora Bennett, and I was determined to rebuild, not for their approval, but to prove to myself I was more than their selfish daughter. Our apartment was a haven, despite its peeling wallpaper and creaky floors. Maya and I would joke about our glamorous life eating ramen while dreaming of better days. I worked relentlessly, waitressing at the diner, until my feet ached tutoring freshmen to cover rent my savings, now a measly $200. Suncor was my escape-coded and soldered in stolen hours, a vision to bring clean energy to rural homes. I'd fall asleep at my desk, my laptop glowing, driven by a quiet fury. I didn't talk to my parents. Mom's voicemail's vague apologies about family needs went unanswered. Dad was silent, Ellie busy with nursing school, Caleb in and out of trouble. I wasn't sure if I was punishing them or protecting myself, but the distance gave me room to breathe. Maya was my anchor. She'd blast music during our study sessions, leave sticky notes on my fridge saying, "You're unstoppable, Nora," and drag me out for ice cream when I was too lost in work. One night, as we sat on our thrift store couch, she asked, "Why do you fight so hard when they took so much?" I paused the question, cutting deep. "It's not just them," I said. "It's me. I need to know I can rise above this." She hugged me, her faith a mirror, reflecting a strength I didn't always see. "You already are," she said, and I clung to that, a spark in the dark. Dr. Patel was my guiding star. Her engineering lab was a sanctuary where I'd tinker with Suncor's circuits under her watchful eye. She'd challenge my designs, push me to think bigger, and share stories of her own struggles as a woman in tech. "You've got grit, Nora," she'd say. Her accent warm, that's rarer than talent. She helped me enter Suncor in a national green tech competition, the Innovate Green Awards, with a $50,000 prize and industry exposure. I spent weeks refining the prototype, Maya helping me practice my pitch, Dr. Patel tweaking my slides. When I submitted, my hands shook. I wasn't just entering a contest, I was betting on myself. The grind was brutal. My jobs left little time for sleep, and my grades teetered under the pressure. I'd race from the diner to clasp my apron, still smelling of grease, then tutor until midnight. Suncor was my lifeline, each circuit a defiance of my family's betrayal. I'd test panels in the lab, dreaming of powering homes, like the ones in Lafayette's outskirts where families struggled with electric bills. Dr. Patel connected me with a local nonprofit solar aid who tested Suncor for their rural projects. Their director, Clara, was in her 60s with a gravelly voice and a passion for impact. "This could be huge, Nora," she said. After a demo, her feedback sharpening my design. Clara became a mentor, her belief a balm for my wounds. The competition loomed set for my senior year, but smaller wins kept me going. I landed a summer internship at a green tech startup, paying enough to rebuild my savings to $1,000. I aced my classes, earning a spot in Purdue's honors program, my wind turbine project winning a campus award. I was stretching myself thin, but each step felt like reclaiming ground my family had stolen. Maya noticed the shift. "You're not just surviving," she said one night. "Splitting a pizza. You're fighting." I nodded, a small smile breaking through. She was right. I was forging something new, not just for them to see, but for me to believe in. The loneliness was a constant shadow, though. I'd see families at the diner, parents laughing with their kids, and feel a pang for what I'd lost. I missed Mom's rare hugs, Dad's dumb car stories, even Ellie's teasing me with the kids. I'd check her social media, Ellie's nursing graduation, Caleb's latest grad stuff, and feel like an outsider in their story. I wanted to be angry, but mostly I was sad. I missed them even if they didn't miss me. I started therapy through Purdue's free clinic, a safe space to unpack the betrayal. My counselor, Dr. Lee, helped me name the grief, not just for the money, but for the family I'd never had. "You're rebuilding trust in yourself," she said. "That's power." Her words were a scaffold, holding me up as I pieced my heart together. Clara's nonprofit gave me purpose. I volunteered at Solar Aid, teaching kids about renewable energy, their wide eyes reminding me why I built Suncor. Clara saw my drive and offered me a part-time role writing grant proposals for their projects. It paid a little, boosting my savings to $2,000 and gave me insight into impact tech. "You're not just an engineer," Clara said, handing me a coffee. "You're a change maker." I blushed, but her words stuck a new lens for seeing myself. I started journaling, spilling my anger, hope, and dreams. Suncor, a career in green tech, a life where I wasn't defined by my family's choices. Writing helped me see the Nora I was becoming: resilient, fierce, not the girl they'd called selfish. The Innovate Green Awards were a turning point. I flew to Chicago, my prototype, in a suitcase, Maya's pep talk in my ear. The competition was fierce: MIT grads, Silicon Valley startups, polished teams and suits. I felt small in my thrift store blazer, but Dr. Patel's advice, "Own your story," kept me steady. I presented Suncor, explaining its affordability, its impact on rural homes, my voice growing stronger. The judges leaned forward, one asking, "How did you fund this?" I told the truth. I worked 2 jobs, lost my savings, but I didn't stop. The room went quiet, then clapped. I didn't win the prize. Went to a flashy AI startup, but I got second place, $10,000, and a meeting with a green tech VC, Sarah. "Your passion's infectious," she said, handing me her card. "Let's talk." The $10,000 was a lifeline, paying off my loans and boosting my savings to $5,000. Sarah's interest was bigger. She wanted to fund Suncor as a startup. I was stunned, barely processing. Back at Purdue, Dr. Patel hugged me, saying, "This is your beginning." Nora, Clara threw a small party at SolarAid Kids, drawing solar panels on a banner. Maya toasted me with cheap wine, yelling to Nora, the Sun Queen. I laughed, but inside I was soaring. Suncor wasn't just a project, it was a future I could touch. I was 22, broke, but unbroken, ready to scale my dream. The family silence was deafening, though. I hadn't told them about the competition, but a cousin saw the awards online and texted Mom. She called, leaving a voicemail. "Heard you did something in Chicago." "Nora, we're proud." I didn't call back. Proud. After stealing my savings, calling me selfish, I journaled my anger, but Dr. Lee's words echoed. "You don't need their approval to shine." I was learning that slowly, each win a step toward a Nora who didn't need their light. A new challenge loomed. Sarah wanted me to pitch Suncor to her firm after graduation. It meant moving to Chicago, leaving Maya and Purdue, but the chance to launch a startup was too big. I said yes, my heart racing. I was balancing finals, SolarAid, and Suncor prep, my life for title. But I was steady, Dr. Patel's guidance, Clara's faith, and Maya's cheers holding me up. I was ready to shine, not for my family, but for me. Have you ever fought through betrayal to find your own strength? I was doing that, my dream glowing my heart, mending, ready to rise. The second place win at the Innovate Green Awards was a beacon lighting a path forward, despite the betrayal that had left me broke. I was 22, a senior at Purdue, juggling engineering classes, a part-time role at SolarAid, and Suncor, my affordable solar panel project. My parents' theft of my $10,000 savings for Caleb's bailout and their dismissal. Don't be selfish. Nora was a wound that drove me to prove I was more than the family's workhorse. With Maya's fierce friendship, Dr. Patel's mentorship, and Clara's support at SolarAid, I was rebuilding not for their approval, but for my own worth. I was Nora Bennett, and with a $10,000 prize and a VC's interest in Suncor, I was ready to fight for my future, even as the silence from my family grew louder. Purdue was my proving ground, my final year a crucible of ambition and exhaustion. My engineering classes were intense: control systems, renewable energy design, but I thrived my Suncor work, sharpening my skills. I presented at a regional conference on sustainable tech, my paper on solar affordability earning praise from a visiting professor. "You're onto something, Nora," he said, offering a grad school recommendation. I was tempted, but my focus was Suncor and Sarah's VC pitch set for post-graduation in Chicago. I was graduating with honors, my GPA, a defiant 3.9, a far cry from the girl my parents had overlooked. SolarAid was my anchor, my grant writing role expanding to project coordination. I helped deploy Suncor panels in rural Indiana, seeing families light up literally as their bills dropped. Clara, my boss, was a rock, her gravelly voice cheering me on. "You're changing lives, kid," she'd say, handing me coffee. The work paid enough to grow my savings to $7,000, a slow climb from zero. I volunteered at their youth programs teaching kids about solar power, their questions fueling my drive. Suncor wasn't just tech, it was hope, and I was its steward. Maya was my heartbeat, our apartment a haven of laughter and late-night talks. She was studying psychology, dreaming of grad school, and her optimism was infectious. We'd cook terrible pancakes, giggling over flops, and she'd quiz me for my VC pitch like it was a game show. "You're gonna slay Nora," she'd say, tossing me a cookie. Her boyfriend Sam joined our crew, helping me test Suncor panels with nerdy enthusiasm. They threw a small party for my birthday with Clara and Dr. Patel. They're gifting me a solar-shaped keychain. For my Sun Queen, Maya said, and I cried my chosen family stronger than the one I'd lost. The loneliness was a quiet ache, though. I'd see families at SolarAid's events, parents hugging their kids, and miss Mom's rare smiles, Dad's car shop stories, even Ellie's old pranks. I hadn't spoken to them in months. Mom's voicemail about the Chicago Awards went unanswered. Dad was silent, Ellie and Caleb distant. I'd check their social media, Ellie's nursing job, Caleb's latest relapse, and feel like a stranger. Moms were proud felt hollow after they'd stolen my savings. Dr. Lee, my therapist, helped me name the grief, not just for the money, but for the family I'd wanted. "You're building your own worth," she said, and I clung to that journaling my pain and dreams Suncor. A green tech career, a life free of their shadow. The VC pitch prep was grueling. Sarah's firm Greenwave Ventures wanted a full business plan. For Suncor projecting costs, impact, and scalability. Dr. Patel guided me, refining the prototype's efficiency, while Clara shared nonprofit insights for market fit. I spent nights in the lab testing panels and days writing projections. My diner shifts a blur. Maya practiced my pitch, filming me until I was polished. "You sound like a CEO," she said, grinning. I was nervous but electrified. Suncor could be a startup, not just a project, and I was ready to lead it. A new opportunity came unexpectedly. Purdue's engineering department nominated me for a National Women in STEM Award, the Rising Star Prize with a $25,000 grant and industry exposure. I submitted Suncor my essay, weaving my story, losing my savings working 2 jobs building for impact. Dr. Patel proofread it, saying, "This is you, Nora Unstoppable." The awards were in DC a month before graduation, and I flew there my prototype in tow, Maya's pep talk in my ear. The competition was fierce, PhDs, startup founders, women in sleek suits. I felt out of place in my borrowed blazer, but Clara's Tech's Shine Kid kept me steady. I presented Suncor my voice, clear sharing its impact on SolarAid's families, my own drive to rise above loss. The judges clapped one, asking, "What fuels you?" I said, believing I'm enough even when others don't. I didn't win, but I got 3rd place, $5,000, and a nod from a tech journal editor who wanted to feature me. The $5,000 boosted my savings to $12,000, a cushion for Chicago. The journal article, Nora Bennett, The Future of Green Tech, went viral, shared by Purdue's alumni network and SolarAid's partners. My inbox filled with congrats internship offers and a speaking invite at a green tech summit. I was trending on LinkedIn, my story of grit resonating. I wondered if my parents saw it, if selfish stung them now. Part of me hoped it did. Part of me just wanted peace. The Chicago pitch was my horizon. Sarah's firm was a green tech giant, and a strong pitch could mean millions for Suncor. I moved to Chicago after graduation, sharing a tiny apartment with a Purdue friend Liam who'd landed a job there. Maya stayed in Indiana, her grad school apps in, but we talked daily, her voice a tether. I worked part-time at a solar startup, learning the industry while prepping Suncor. Dr. Patel flew in to help Clara, sent impact data, and Liam practiced my slides. I was balancing work pitches and speaking gigs my life, a high-wire act. Suncor was ready, 30% more efficient, 50% cheaper than competitors with SolarAid's testimonials as proof. I was nervous but ready, my solar keychain in my pocket, Clara's words in my heart. My family's silence was a weight. Mom texted after the journal article, "Saw your name, Nora. Can we talk?" I didn't reply. Dad emailed stiff good job in DC. Ellie called, leaving a voicemail about her new job, hinting at family news Caleb was in rehab again. I saved their messages but didn't respond. I didn't hate them, but I wasn't ready to forgive. Dr. Lee's words echoed, "Your worth isn't their validation." I journaled my anger, my dreams, Suncor, as a global startup. A life where I was enough. I was learning to let go, not of them, but of needing their light. The Green Tech Summit was a warm-up held in Chicago before the pitch. I spoke about Suncor's impact, my story of loss and grit, drawing tears from the crowd. A tech blog called me a rising force, and Sarah emailed, "You're ready." I was balancing finals work and the pitch my savings at $15,000, my life a sprint. Graduation was weeks away, and I'd walk alone, my chosen family, Maya, Clara, Dr. Patel, cheering from afar. I was 22, on the cusp of something huge, but the fear lingered. What if I failed? What if my family was right and I was nothing without their support? A new milestone came. SolarAid installed Suncor in 10 more homes, their director rating in a trade magazine. I taped the article to my fridge, a reminder of why I fought. I was ready for Chicago, for Sarah's pitch for a future I'd built from ashes. I journaled to myself, "You're not selfish, you're Nora, and you're enough." I was scared, but I was unbreakable, my dream glowing, my heart steady. Have you ever risen from someone's betrayal to find your own power? I was doing that, my vision clear, my fight just beginning, ready to light the world. The third-place win at the Rising Star Prize and the viral Tech Journal article had ignited a spark, pushing Suncor and me toward a brighter horizon. I was 22, a Purdue graduate now in Chicago, sharing a tiny apartment with Liam while working part-time at a solar startup, and preparing to pitch Suncor, my affordable solar panel project, to Green Wave Ventures. My parents' betrayal, using my $10,000 savings for Caleb's bailout, and calling me selfish for wanting it back, still burned away. Patel's mentorship, Clara's support at SolarAid, and my growing savings of $15,000, I was rebuilding, not for their approval, but for my own worth. I was Nora Bennett, and I was ready to shine, even as my family's silence loomed. Chicago was a new world, its skyline sharp, and its winters biting a match for my gritty resolve. Liam's apartment was a shoebox with mismatched furniture and a view of an alley, but it was a base for my dreams. My job at the solar startup testing panels for urban projects paid enough to cover rent and grow my savings to $18,000. I spent evenings on Suncor refining the prototype with Dr. Patel's remote guidance coding efficiency algorithms and drafting a business plan for Sarah's VC pitch. The plan projected Suncor's impact 50% cheaper than competitors, scalable for rural and urban markets, with SolarAid's data showing 20% bill reductions for users. I was nervous but electrified, my solar keychain. Maya's gift in my pocket, a talisman of my fight. Purdue's graduation had been bittersweet. I walked alone, Maya and Clara, cheering via livestream Dr. Patel, sending a video, "You're unstoppable, Nora." My parents didn't come, despite my invite, their absence a dull ache. Mom texted, "Congrats, honey," but it felt empty after their betrayal. I didn't reply, focusing on Chicago, where Suncor could become a startup. The Green Tech Summit speech had been a triumph, my story of grit trending online, and Sarah's email, "You're ready," was fuel. I was balancing work pitch prep and speaking gigs, my life, a high-wire act, but I was steady, my chosen family holding me up. The solar startup was a learning ground, exposing me to industry trends and investor mindsets. My boss, Elena, was a sharp engineer in her 40s who saw my drive. "You're not just a techie, Nora," she said, reviewing my Suncor specs. "You're a leader." She let me use their lab after hours, where I'd test panels pushing efficiency to 35%. Elena became a mentor, sharing pitch tips and connecting me with a local green tech meetup. I networked there, shaking hands with founders and VCs. My thrift store blazer, a contrast to their suits. Most were polite but skeptical, another solar startup, another dreamer. But a few took my card, including a nonprofit exec who wanted Suncor for their projects. Maya was my lifeline, calling daily from Indiana, her grad school apps in. "You're gonna kill that pitch," she'd say, her voice crackling with excitement. We'd video chat, her teasing me about my fancy Chicago life, me laughing at her psych study rants. She visited once, crashing on our couch, and we explored the city, eating deep dish pizza and dreaming big. "You're not their bank anymore," she said, hugging me. "You're a freaking sun goddess." Her faith was a mirror, reflecting a Nora I was starting to love. Clara sent care packages, granola notes saying, "Light the world, kid," and Dr. Patel emailed weekly, refining my pitch slides. Their support was a scaffold holding me as I built. The VC pitch was weeks away, and I was all in. Sarah's firm wanted a full roadmap, production, distribution, impact metrics. I worked nights projecting Suncor's reach, 8,000 homes in year 1, 10,000 in 3, with partnerships like Solar Aids. Liam helped running cost models, his math geekery a godsend. Dr. Patel flew in, testing the prototype, pushing efficiency to 40%. Clara shared impact data, 30 homes now using Suncor bills down 25%. I practiced my pitch in our apartment, Liam filming Maya, critiquing via Zoom. "You sound like a boss," she said, and I felt it, my nerves giving way to fire. A new win came unexpectedly. The Tech Journal's article led to an invite to speak at a national clean energy conference in Denver, a major stage with industry giants. I flew there, my prototype in tow, Clara's pep talk in my ear. The crowd was packed, CEOs, policymakers, activists. I spoke about Suncor's mission, weaving my story of loss and grit, my voice steady. "I built this because I know what it's like to have everything taken," I said, but I didn't stop. The applause was thunderous, a standing ovation. A Bloomberg reporter interviewed me, the piece, "Nora Bennett Solar's Rising Star Going Viral." My inbox flooded, nonprofits, VCs, a TEDx invite. Suncor was trending, my name with it, and I wondered if my parents saw if selfish stung them now. The Bloomberg article was a launchpad. SolarAid signed 10 more homes, pushing their Suncor count to 40. A Midwest nonprofit wanted 100 panels, offering a $50,000 contract. Sarah upped her offer, promising $2 million if my pitch landed. I was stunned, my savings at $20,000, my dream within reach. I hired a part-time developer, a Purdue grad named Aisha, to code Suncor's monitoring app. She worked from our apartment, her quiet brilliance a spark. We hit a milestone, 50 homes powered, 30% bill reductions, and Clara threw a virtual party, Maya toasting me on Zoom. To Nora, the Sun Queen, I laughed, but inside I was soaring. Suncor was real, and I was its heart. The family silence was a weight, though. Mom called after Bloomberg, leaving a voicemail. "Saw your article, Nora. We're proud." Dad texted, "Good work in Denver." Ellie emailed, hinting at Caleb's latest relapse. I didn't respond, their words, too late, too thin. Dr. Lee's therapy sessions helped me process it. "You're grieving the family you deserved," she said. "Let yourself feel it." I journaled my anger, my dreams, Suncor as a global force, a life where I was enough. I wrote, "I don't need their pride. I have mine." It was a slow unlearning, letting go of their validation. The Chicago pitch was my crucible. Sarah's firm was a green tech titan, their boardroom overlooking the city. I arrived in a new blazer, bought with my savings, my solar keychain in my pocket. The board was tough, grilling costs, scalability risks. I presented Suncor my slides, crisp my voice, clear 50 homes powered, 40% efficiency, $500 per panel versus a $200 competitors. I shared SolarAid's data, My story of grit ending with Suncor isn't just tech, it's light for those in the dark. They clapped, Sarah grinning. 2 days later, she called $3 million, a lead investment with 2 VCs joining for $5 million total. I cried, calling Maya Clara Dr. Patel. You did it, Maya screamed. I was a CEO, Suncor, a startup, my dream alive. The Clean Energy Conference offered a keynote slot, post-pitch a stage, to announce Suncor's funding. I accepted, knowing it overlapped with a family event, Ellie's Nursing Award ceremony, where Caleb would be celebrated for rehab. Mom texted, assuming I'd attend. It's family, Nora. I didn't reply, choosing my keynote. The conference was my future, their event, my past. I journaled about it, writing, I'm not selfish. I'm Nora and I'm permanent. I was scared but ready. My team, Maya Clara, Dr. Patel, Liam, Aisha behind me. A new milestone hit. Suncor powered 100 homes with a $100,000 contract from a rural co-op. I was speaking monthly, my TEDx talk set for spring. My savings hit $25,000, a foundation for Suncor's launch. I was 22, a CEO, no longer the girl who'd lost everything. I was ready for the keynote, ready to face my family's shadow, ready to light the world. Have you ever turned someone's betrayal into your own triumph? I was doing that. My sun rising, my heart ablaze, ready to shine. The $5 million investment from Greenwave Ventures was a rocket booster launching Suncor and me into a new realm. I was 22, a Purdue graduate now settled in Chicago, leading a fledgling startup with 100 homes powered by my affordable solar panels. My parents' betrayal, stealing my $10,000 savings for Caleb's bailout, and branding me selfish for wanting it back, remained a scar that fueled my ascent, a defiance against being the family's overlooked workhorse. With Maya's fierce friendship, Dr. Patel's mentorship, Clara's support at SolarAid, and my growing team, including Aisha, I was building a life that was mine. My savings were at $25,000. My name was trending. After the Bloomberg article and the Clean Energy Conference keynote was my next stage. I was Nora Bennett, and I was ready to shine, even as my family. Liam's apartment with its sagging couch and alley view was home base. My evenings spent coding Suncor's app or drafting expansion plans. My job at the solar startup testing urban panels was a masterclass in industry dynamics, paying enough to push my savings to $30,000. Elena, my boss, was a mentor, letting me use the lab to refine Suncor's efficiency to 45%. You're a force, Nora, she said, reviewing my specs. She connected me with a Chicago Green Tech Hub where I networked with founders and NGOs. My confidence growing despite my thrift store blazer. Suncor was gaining traction. 150 homes powered a $200 million contract from a rural co-op, and SolarAid's data showing 35% bill reductions. My team was my heartbeat. Aisha, our developer, coded Suncor's app with quiet brilliance working from our apartment. I hired a part-time marketer, Tara, whose social campaigns turned SolarAid stories into viral posts hitting 100,000 views. We worked in a rented co-working space, a cramped loft with a coffee maker we worshipped. Tara's energy, Aisha's precision, and Liam's late-night number crunching made us a unit, their belief in me, a mirror reflecting a CEO I was embracing. We celebrated 200 homes powered with takeout, and bad karaoke, their laughter louder than any award. Maya was my anchor, her daily calls from Indiana a lifeline. She was accepted into a psych grad program, her joy infectious. You're gonna own that keynote, she'd say, quizzing me on my slides via Zoom. She visited Chicago, crashing with us, and we'd explore, laughing over hot dogs and lakefront walks. You're not their ATM anymore, she said, hugging me. You're a sun goddess. Clara sent granola and notes, keep lighting the world, kid. Dr. Patel emailed, refining my keynote, her pride palpable. Their support was a foundation, holding me as I soared. The Clean Energy Conference was in Denver, a massive stage with CEOs, policymakers, and media. My keynote lighting the unseen. Affordable Energy for All was a chance to announce Suncor's funding and vision. I spent weeks crafting it, Dr. Patel coaching my data, 200 homes, 45% efficiency, $500 panels while Clara shared impact stories. Tara's campaign hyped the speech, Aisha's app visuals stunned. Maya practiced with me, filming in our loft until I was polished. "You're a star," she said. I flew to Denver, my solar keychain in my pocket. Elena's text, "Lead Nora," in my heart. The crowd was electric, 2,000 strong. I stepped on stage, lights blinding, and began. "I'm Nora Bennett, and I built Suncor because I know what it's like to lose everything." I shared SolarAid stories, my grit ending with "Suncor isn't tech. It's light for those in the dark." The applause was a roar, a standing ovation. My keynote went viral, 1 million views, trending with the Dogyark Suncor. The conference was a launchpad. We signed a $1 million deal with a national co-op, pushing us to 300 homes. 2 VCs joined Sarah for a $10 million Series A, valuing Suncor at $50 million. A TEDx talk was confirmed, and Forbes wanted a profile. I was trending globally, my name on lips from DC to Delhi. I wondered if my parents saw it, if selfish stung them now. Mom's text after Bloomberg went unanswered, but a cousin said she'd bragged about me at church. I didn't care or tried not to. Dr. Lee's therapy helped me let go. "You're grieving their absence," she said, "but you're building presence." I journaled, writing, "I'm enough without them." The loneliness lingered, though. I'd see families at the co-op's events, parents cheering kids, and ache for Mom's hugs, Dad's stories, Ellie's old laughs. I hadn't spoken to them in over a year. Ellie's ceremony was across town, but I'd chosen Denver. Mom's "It's family" text sat in my inbox unanswered. I wanted to be past it, but the kid in me craved their pride. Clara saw it when I visited SolarAid. "You don't need their light, Nora," she said. Her eyes warm. "You're your own sun." I nodded, my keychain grounding me, and vowed to shine for me. Suncor was soaring. We moved to a proper office, a Chicago loft, with glass walls, hiring 10 staff, a sales lead, engineers, a PR guru named Javier. We hit 500 homes with a $2 million contract from a Midwest utility. Tara got us into wired Javier, landed a scene in a segment. Sarah was talking Series B $30 million with IPO whispers. I was keynoting monthly my TEDx talk set for spring. My savings hit $40,000, a nest egg for Suncor's future, or a dream I was forming, a green tech hub for young innovators named for Clara. A new opportunity came, a global energy summit in London, where I'd pitch Suncor to international NGOs. I accepted, knowing it clashed with a family reunion Mom had mentioned expecting me to attend. I chose London, my future, over their past. The summit prep was intense, Dr. Patel refining specs, Clara sharing data, Tara's campaign going global. We hit 700 homes with a $5 million deal pending. I was exhausted, but alive, each win a defiance of my family's dismissal. I journaled, "I'm not selfish, I'm permanent." I was scared, but ready. My team, Maya, Clara, Dr. Patel, Liam, Aisha, Tara, Javier, my rock. The London summit was a dream. The venue was a sleek hall, packed with global leaders. I spoke about Suncor's mission, my story of loss and grit, my voice resonating. I built this from nothing, I said, because I believe in light for all. The crowd stood clapping, NGOs swarming with offers. We landed a $10 million partnership with a European co-op, pushing us to 1,000 homes. A BBC reporter profiled me, the piece, "Nora Bennett Solar's New Voice Going Viral." I was trending, my face on screens, my story everywhere. I knew my parents would hear Ellie's ceremony, had Purdue ties, their circles saw BBC. Selfish was a lie they couldn't ignore. Back in Chicago, we celebrated 200 homes with a loft party, Liam DJing, Maya flying in. I started the Clara Light Hub, a mentorship program for young green tech innovators, funding it with my speaking fees. At the launch, I gave Clara a sun-shaped pendant, saying, "For my family." She cried, and so did I. I was 23, a CEO, no longer the girl who'd lost her savings. I was ready to face my family's shadow, not for their pride, but for my peace. I journaled to the Nora who'd cried in her dorm. You were enough then, you're enough now. I didn't need their validation, but I knew a confrontation was coming. Mom texted, saw you on BBC Nora. Can we meet? I didn't answer, but I was ready to shine on my terms. My sun rising. Have you ever turned pain into a light? Ready for the next stage. The London summit had been a supernova, propelling Suncor to 1,200 homes, powered a $10 million partnership and global recognition. I was 23, a Chicago-based CEO, leading a green tech startup, valued at $50 million with a $30 million Series B on the horizon. My parents' betrayal, stealing my $10,000 savings for Caleb's bailout and calling me selfish for wanting it back, was the wound that had fueled my rise, a defiance against being the family's overlooked workhorse. With Maya's fierce friendship, Dr. Patel's mentorship, Clara's support at SolarAid, and my growing team, Liam Aisha, Tara Javier, I'd built a life that was mine. The Clara Light Hub was launched, my name was on BBC and Forbes, and I was Nora Bennett ready to shine, even as my family's shadow mom's text. After the BBC profile loomed closer, Chicago was my home now, its bustling energy, a match for my relentless drive. Our loft office was a hive with Aisha coding Suncor's app, Tara's campaigns going viral, Javier sealing NGO deals, and Liam crunching numbers. We hit 1,500 homes with a $15 million contract from a national utility, our panels cutting bills by 40%. Sarah, our VC, was pushing for a Series B, eyeing $50 million with IPO talks gaining steam. I was keynoting globally. Berlin, Tokyo, a UN climate summit, my solar keychain Maya's gift, always in my pocket. The TEDx talk was weeks away, a stage to share Suncor's mission in my spirit. I was 23, no longer the girl who'd lost everything but a CEO, whose light was undeniable. My team was my soul. Aisha's quiet genius, Tara's bold energy, Javier's charm, and Liam's steady support made our office a family, their belief in me a mirror reflecting a leader I was growing into. We celebrated 2,000 homes with a rooftop bash Chicago's skyline, glittering their cheers louder than any accolade. But the loneliness lingered. I hadn't spoken to my family in over a year. Mom's text, saw you on BBC Nora. Can we meet, went unanswered. Dad was silent, Ellie and Caleb distant. I'd see their lives online, Ellie's promotion, Caleb's latest rehab, and feel like an exile. Mom's selfish still stung, but Dr. Lee's therapy helped me let go. You're grieving the family you deserved, she said. I journaled, writing, I don't need their pride, I'm my own light. Clara kept me grounded. At SolarAid installing Suncor panels, she saw my ache. You're not their shadow. Nora, she said, her voice warm. You're a sun. I nodded, my keychain grounding me, and vowed to shine for me. Maya called daily, her grad school stories a lifeline. You're killing it, Sun Queen, she'd say, her laughter easing my stress. Dr. Patel emailed, refining my TEDx talk, her pride a beacon. Their support was my foundation, letting me soar. The TEDx talk was in Chicago, a sold-out event with 1,000 attendees and a global livestream. My speech, Lighting the Future Tech for All, was a chance to share Suncor's impact. 2,500 homes, 50% efficiency, $500 panels, and my journey from loss to leadership. Dr. Patel coached my data, Clara shared stories. Tara's campaign hit 500,000 views, and Aisha's visuals were art. Maya flew in Priya style, promising to cheer. I practiced in our office, Liam filming, Tara critiquing. You're a boss, she said. I wore a navy blazer, my own, now my keychain in my pocket. The crowd was electric, the lights blinding. I stepped on stage. I'm Nora Bennett, and I built Suncor because I know what it's like to have nothing. I shared SolarAid's impact. My grit ending with Suncor isn't tech, it's hope for the unseen. The applause was thunderous, a standing ovation, 2 million livestream views trending with Elder's Suncor. The TEDx talk was a launchpad. We signed a $20 million deal with a global co-op hitting 3,000 homes. Sarah closed the Series B at $60 million, valuing Suncor at $200 million. A UN agency offered a $25 million partnership, and Wired named us Startup of the Year. I was trending globally, my face. On billboards, my story in schools. I knew my parents saw it. Ellie's ceremony had Purdue ties, their circles watched TEDx. Selfish was a lie they couldn't ignore, but I didn't need their apology. I journaled, I'm enough. A new opportunity came: a global climate awards gala in New York, where Suncor was up for clean tech innovation. It was televised, a red carpet affair, clashing with a family event. Caleb's rehab graduation, where Mom expected me. I chose New York, my stage, over their past. The gala prep was intense. Dr. Patel refining specs, Clara's data, Tara's campaign, Aisha's visuals. We hit 4,000 homes with a $30 million deal pending. I was exhausted but alive, each win a defiance of my family's dismissal. Maya and Clara flew in, Maya in sparkles, Clara beaming. I was ready to shine, but the family pull lingered. Mom texted, we saw TEDx Nora. Please come to Caleb's event. I didn't reply, my heart set on New York. The gala was a dream, a Manhattan ballroom glittering with CEOs, activists, and media. I wore a navy dress, my keychain in my clutch, backstage nerves eased by Maya's hug and Clara's wink. Suncor won, and I took the stage, the glass trophy heavy. I'm Nora Bennett, CEO of Suncor. I began, and I built this for the unseen because I was one. I thanked Clara, Maya, my team, sharing our mission: 4,500 homes, global impact. The crowd stood, cameras flashing my speech, trending with 5 million views. Backstage, I was mobbed, NGOs, VCs. A Netflix producer wanting a doc. Maya tackled me, Clara cried, that's my Sun Queen. The win was massive. We hit 5,000 homes, signed the UN deal, and opened a Berlin office. Sarah was talking Series C, $150 million, with IPO plans for 2026. I was keynoting at COP30, my story, a beacon for the overlooked. The Clara Light Hub grew, mentoring 50 kids, and I spoke at their events, seeing myself in their eyes. I painted a new hobby in my Chicago apartment, canvases of suns and fields, a nod to my roots. My savings hit $50,000, a foundation for the hub or Suncor's future. My family reached out, Mom emailing, we're so proud, Nora. Can we see you? Dad called gruff. You're doing big things. Ellie texted about Caleb's progress, inviting me to a family dinner. I didn't respond, their words too late. Dr. Lee helped me process it. You're allowed to set boundaries, she said. I journaled, writing to them without sending. You took my savings, called me selfish, but I built a son. I forgive you for me. I didn't need their light. I had Clara's love, Maya's fire, my team's loyalty, Suncor's impact. A new milestone hit. Suncor held 6,000 homes and a $50 million deal. I was named to Times. Next, my face on newsstands. I started a scholarship, the Clara Sun Fund, for young green tech innovators. Launching it at a Solar Aid event, I gave Clara a sun pendant saying, for my family. She cried, and so did I. I was 23, a CEO, no longer the girl who'd lost her savings. I was ready to face my family, not for their pride, but for my closure. I journaled to the Nora who'd cried in her dorm. You were enough. You're permanent. I was scared but ready. My sun rising, my heart ablaze, set to light the world on my terms. Have you ever built a light so bright it outshone your pain? I was doing that, my dream a movement, my heart a star, ready for what came next. The New York Climate Awards Gala had been a defining moment, my speech as Suncor's CEO, resonating with millions, the glass trophy. A symbol of my rise from the ashes of betrayal. I was 23, leading a Chicago-based green tech startup with 6,000 homes, powered a $60 million Series B, and a global footprint. My parents' theft of my $10,000 savings for Caleb's bailout, coupled with their dismissal, don't be selfish. Nora had been the wound that propelled me here, a defiance against being the family's overlooked workhorse. With Maya's fierce friendship, Dr. Patel's mentorship, Clara's support at SolarAid, and my team's loyalty, Liam, Aisha, Tara, Javier, I'd built a life that was mine. The Clara Light Hub was thriving, my TEDx talk had gone viral, and I was Nora Bennett, ready to face my family. Not for their approval, but for my own peace as their messages. Mom's plea, Dad's call. Ellie's text piled up unanswered. Chicago was my stronghold, its relentless energy fueling my drive. Our loft office buzzed with Suncor's growth, 7,000 homes. Powered a $50 million Asian co-op deal and a Berlin office opening. Sarah, our VC, was prepping a $150 million Series C, with IPO plans for 2026 gaining traction. I was keynoting globally, COP30, a UN summit, a Davos panel, my solar keychain, Maya's gift, a constant companion, the Clara Sun Fund, my scholarship for young green tech innovators, had awarded grants to 10 kids, their thank you letters pinned to my office wall. I was 23, no longer the girl who'd lost everything but a CEO whose light was reshaping the world. The next stage was the Global Clean Energy Awards in San Francisco, a televised gala where Suncor was up for Sustainable Innovation of the Year. It was a high-stakes event clashing with a family event, a reunion in Lafayette where Caleb's rehab graduation and Ellie's promotion would be celebrated. Mom had emailed assuming I'd attend. We're proud, Nora. Come home. I chose San Francisco, my stage over their past, knowing the gala's livestream would reach their circles. The prep was intense. Dr. Patel refining specs to 55% efficiency. Clara's impact data showing 45% bill cuts. Tara's campaign hitting 2 million views. Aisha's app visuals stunning. Maya and Clara flew in Maya in glitter, Clara beaming. I was ready, my navy dress. My signature feeling like armor, my keychain in the clutch. The gala was a spectacle, a San Francisco ballroom, glittering with tech titans, policymakers, and media. Backstage, I paced my note cards, worn Maya's hug, and Clara's wink easing my nerves. Suncor was announced as the winner, and I took the stage, the trophy gleaming. I'm Nora Bennett, CEO of Suncor. I began, and I built this for the unseen because I was one. I shared our impact, 7,500 homes. Global reach, lives changed, and my story of rising from loss. The crowd stood, cameras flashing my speech, trending with 10 million views. Backstage, I was swarmed, NGOs, VCs, a UN rep offering a $50 million partnership. Maya tackled me. Clara cried, "That's my son." Sarah grinned, "You're a legend." The win was seismic. We hit 8,000 homes, signed the UN deal, and opened a Tokyo office. Sarah closed the Series C at $200 million, valuing Suncor at $1 billion. DLEN called us the unicorn of clean tech, my face on their homepage. I was named to Forbes' 30 Under 30 trending globally. My story in classrooms. I knew my parents saw it. The Lafayette reunion had Purdue alumni. Their circles watched CNN. Mom's email arrived. "We saw you in San Francisco, Nora. Please, let's talk." Dad called gruff. "You're something else, kid." Ellie texted inviting me to her wedding. Caleb left a voicemail sounding sober. "I'm sorry, Nora." I saved their messages but didn't reply. Their pride was too late, their apologies too thin. The confrontation came unexpectedly. A Chicago tech summit where I was keynoting invited Suncor as a headline sponsor. It was a major event with Purdue ties, and I learned my parents were attending. Dad's garage had a supplier there. Ellie was a guest speaker. I hadn't planned to face them, but the summit's timing days after San Francisco felt fated. Maya, Clara, and my team were there, my navy blazer ready, my keychain in my pocket. The summit was in a sleek convention center packed with industry leaders and media. I spoke about Suncor's mission, 9,000 homes, 60% efficiency, global impact, and my journey not naming my family but hinting at loss. I was called selfish for wanting my own light, I said, but I built a sun. The crowd roared a standing ovation, my keynote trending with 15 million views. After I saw them, Mom, Dad, Ellie, Caleb in the crowd, their faces pale. They approached Mom's eyes wet. "Nora, we're so proud. We were wrong." Dad's voice cracked. "I'm sorry, kid. We didn't see you." Ellie hugged me, whispering, "I should have stood up for you." Caleb, looking fragile, said I messed up. "I'm sorry for the money." I stood there, heart pounding their words, a mix of balm and sting. "You took my savings," I said, voice steady. "You called me selfish when I was drowning. I needed you then, not now." Mom sobbed. Dad flinched. Ellie's eyes dropped. Caleb nodded. "I wasn't cruel, but I was honest. I'm happy," I said, "but I built this without you." I walked away, Maya, grabbing my hand, Clara's arm around me, my team cheering. The crowd parted eyes on me, a CEO, a star. The summit was a launch pad. We hit 10,000 homes, signed a $100 million deal with a global utility, and opened a Delhi office. Sarah was talking IPO for 2025, valuing Suncor at $2 billion. I was keynoting at the G20 My Story, a beacon for the unseen. The Clara Light Hub grew, mentoring 100 kids, and I spoke at their events, seeing my younger self in their dreams. My savings hit $100,000, a foundation for the hub, or Suncor's future. I painted in my Chicago apartment, Suns Over Fields, a nod to my roots. The Clara Sun Fund awarded 20 grants, and I gave Clara a sun-shaped plaque at a SolarAid gala, saying, "For my family." She cried, and so did I. My family kept reaching out. Mom sent a letter. "We failed you, Nora. Can we try again?" Dad emailed Ellie, invited me to her wedding. Caleb wrote from rehab. I didn't hate them, but I wasn't ready to mend. Dr. Lee helped me set boundaries. "You're allowed to choose yourself," she said. I journaled, writing to them without sending. "You broke me, but I rebuilt stronger. I forgive you for me. I didn't need their light. I had Maya's fire, Clara's love, my team's loyalty." Suncor's impact. A new milestone hit. Suncor powered 12,000 homes with a $200 million deal. Pending, I was named to Time's 100 Most Influential My Face on newsstands. I started a new painting, a sun breaking through clouds, calling it Unseen. It was for me, for every woman called selfish for shining. I was 23, a CEO, no longer the girl who'd lost her savings. I was ready to face my future, my sun blazing. Have you ever faced those who broke you and found you didn't need their light? I did on that stage, and it was my brightest victory yet. The Chicago Tech Summit had been a pivotal moment. My keynote speech as Suncor's CEO reverberating through the crowd. My family's stunned faces, a quiet victory I hadn't sought but felt deeply. I was 23, leading a Chicago-based green tech startup with 12,000 homes powered, a $200 million Series C, and a $2 billion valuation on the horizon. My parents' betrayal, stealing my $10,000 savings for Caleb's bailout, and labeling me selfish for wanting it back, had been the wound that fueled my ascent, a defiance against being the family's overlooked workhorse. With Maya's fierce friendship, Dr. Patel's mentorship, Clara's support at SolarAid, and my team's loyalty, Liam, Aisha, Tara, Javier, I'd built a life that was mine. The Clara Light Hub was mentoring 100 kids my time. 100 Most Influential nod was global, and I was Nora Bennett, ready to move forward. My family's apologies, Mom's letter, Dad's email, Ellie's wedding invite. Caleb's note unanswered, but no longer a weight. Chicago was my sanctuary, its vibrant pulse syncing with my relentless drive. My apartment, a small loft with a lake view, was a haven of painted suns and team photos. My solar keychain, Maya's gift, on my desk. Suncor's office, a sleek glass-walled space, hummed with energy. 15,000 homes powered, a $200 million deal with a global utility and offices in Berlin, Tokyo, and Delhi. Sarah RVC was prepping an IPO for 2025, projecting a $5 billion valuation. I was keynoting at the G20 COP31 and a UN Summit My Story of rising from loss, inspiring millions. The Clara Sun Fund had awarded 50 grants, and I mentored its kids, seeing my younger self in their dreams. I was 23, no longer the girl who'd lost her savings, but a CEO whose light was reshaping the world. My team was my heart. Aisha's coding genius, Tara's viral campaigns, Javier's deal-making, and Liam's steady analysis made our office a family, their faith in me a mirror reflecting a leader I'd become. We celebrated 18,000 homes with a rooftop party, Chicago's skyline aglow, their cheers louder than any trophy. But the family ache lingered softer now. I hadn't replied to Mom's letter, "We failed you, Nora. Can we try again?" Or Dad's email, Ellie's wedding invite, or Caleb's rehab note. Their apologies were sincere, but late, unable to erase the years I'd been their bank. Dr. Lee's therapy helped me let go. "You're choosing yourself," she said. I journaled writing to them without sending, "You broke me, but I built a son. I forgive you for me." I didn't need their light. I had Maya's fire, Clara's love, my team's loyalty. Suncor's impact. Clara was my rock. At SolarAid installing Suncor panels, she saw my quiet resolve. "You're not their shadow." "Nora," she said, her eyes warm. "You're a universe." I gave her a sun-shaped plaque at a gala saying, "For my family." She cried, her pendant, my gift gleaming. Maya visited monthly, her psych grad school stories a lifeline. "You're my sun queen," she'd say, her hugs fierce. Dr. Patel Skyped, planning Suncor's next phase, her pride a beacon. Liam, now a friend and colleague, helped me paint my loft suns over fields, a nod to my roots. Their support was my foundation, letting me soar. The G20 keynote was next, a global stage in Riyadh, where I'd announce Suncor's 20,000 home milestone and a $500 million UN partnership. Prep was intense. Dr. Patel pushing efficiency to 60%. Clara's data showing 50% bill cuts, Tara's campaign hitting 5 million views, Aisha's app syncing global grids. Maya and Clara joined via livestream, their cheers my armor. I spoke to 5,000 leaders, my voice clear. "I'm Nora Bennett, and I built We signed a $1 billion deal with a global co-op, valuing Suncor at $10 billion. I was trending everywhere, my face, on screens, my story a movement. The family pull faded, but a new moment came. Ellie's wedding was in Lafayette, and I decided to go not for them, but for me to see if we could rebuild. I arrived in my navy dress keychain, in my purse, Maya's pep talk in my ear. Mom hugged me, tears falling. "We were so wrong, Nora. We're sorry." Dad pulled me aside, voice rough. "I'm proud, kid. I failed you." Ellie, radiant, said, "I should have seen you." Caleb, sober, apologized, "I took too much." "I'm sorry." I listened, heart steady. "You hurt me," I said, "but I built my own light. I'm here, but it's on my terms." They nodded, and we danced a fragile bridge, not fully mended, but begun. I left early, Maya waiting in Chicago, with tacos and a rom-com, my true home. Suncor was a global force at 25,000 homes with offices in 10 cities and a mobile app topping charts. I was named to Fortune's 40 Under 40, my story in textbooks. The Clara Light Hub mentored 200 kids, and I spoke at their events, giving each a sun-shaped keychain, saying, "You're enough." I painted a mural at SolarAid, a sun over fields, dedicating it to Clara. "For my family," I said, and she cried. My savings hit $200,000, a foundation for the hub, or a new dream, a global green tech institute. I started a new painting, a sun-piercing clouds called Permanent, for every woman told she was selfish for shining. I journaled nightly, writing to the Nora who'd cried in her dorm. "You were enough then. You're a star now." I forgave my family, not for them, but for me, letting go of their validation. I kept the keychain on my desk, a symbol of my light. Maya, Clara, my team, the world. I was 23, living a life I'd fought for each step, a circuit in a system I was still building. The G20 deal led to a $2 billion contract, pushing Suncor to 30,000 homes. I was keynoting at the UN General Assembly, launching the Clara Light Institute, mentoring 500 kids. I'd paint lead love on my terms in my world. My family was a distant bridge, crossed occasionally. Holiday calls, a dinner with Ellie. They respected my boundaries, and we were rebuilding slowly, honestly. I didn't need their light. I had my own, brighter than I'd dreamed. Suncor was my legacy, but so was the Nora. I'd become resilient, radiant, permanent. I was 23, just starting, and the world was mine to light. Have you ever found your worth in the sun? You built yourself, I did. And it's a light I'll carry forever. You're permanent too. Shine not for them, but for you.